everyone. So I'm going to be working with a resistance band with a loop tied at both ends for this sequence, or you can use what you may find on the internet, the kind of cables with the handles on either side. Both works really well. We're going to be focusing primarily on the arms with this sequence, but with the option to add some legs in as well. So a nice full body workout if you wish to. I'm going to go quite light with my band just because I've got some issues with the shoulder, but obviously you can work as hard as you want, and the tighter you hold your band, the more resistance you'll give. So lots of options to go up or down. So starting with band held in both hands, you're just going to step onto your band, and your feet should be hip distance apart. Make sure your knees are soft, your pelvis is level, so just do a few pelvic tilts to help with that. Opening out through the collarbones, so we're really focusing on this shoulder set position, so making sure you're setting those shoulder blades, tucking them nicely into your back pockets and lengthening up through the spine. Just pause for a moment, taking a nice deep breath, and if you want to, you can focus in on those deep tummy or pelvic floor contractions. And let's just begin to move. So we're going to work with that shoulder set position by shrugging up through the shoulders. Feel that tension build up through the band, and then slide the shoulder blades back down towards the back pockets. So using that band to help assist that movement. Quite nice at this point as we're not moving, just to draw the lower tummy towards the spine if you want to, just to feel a little bit more of that awareness. Aiming to keep the pelvis completely neutral as that movement is isolated to your shoulder blades, and of course use that lovely deep breath. One more breath in and out. Now really sink those shoulders down towards the mat, and this time we're going to take that into a lovely side reach. So I'm loosening the tension on this side, but really feeling that tension through my side of the body. Coming back up and then repeating over to the opposite side. Now making sure that top shoulder doesn't collapse up towards the ear. Draw the shoulder blade down and away towards the waist. Remember our lovely big dangly diamond earrings. We want to show them to the world. Guys as well. Okay, one more on each side. Really feeling and appreciating that opening sense through the side of the body. Okay, let's start to get a little bit hard. So this is where we can add the legs in, or you can stay in standing. If you want to work the legs a little bit more, we're going to come down into a squat. Now you can use that band as a little bit of feedback, so just make sure your knees kind of roughly brushing along the sides of the band. If your knees are falling out with the band, then we're not doing too good. So knees there, and just glance down, make sure you can still see your toes. If your toes have disappeared, sit back into your heels, and let's work a little bit into those. Actually, we won't do bicep curl, let's do plough. So we're bringing the arms forwards and then lowering back down again. So really think about drawing the shoulder blades down towards the waist as the hands come up. Tendency to lead with those upper shoulders, collapsing down and losing that lovely long neck. Want to avoid that, so set the shoulder blades down, drawing in and lifting up into our plough. We've got 3 more. Now obviously you can work a little bit harder by coming a little bit higher. You can work those legs a little bit harder by coming a bit lower, but just remember that's going to give you a little bit less tension through your band. So really up to you where you want to work tonight, or this morning, depending on where you're doing your video. Okay, we're going to hold this one and we're going to come into our 100th pulse. We know this so well. Oh dear, heart rate's going up. Okay, we're not going to do 100 of these because we will really feel it otherwise. So 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Slowly come down. Now option, should you want to work those legs, we're going to take the feet slightly wider than the hips, turn the toes to the corner of the room, lengthen through the tailbone, come back down into your plie. This time the hands face the back of the room, and we're going to come backwards into that back rowing plough. Lovely. So you're reaching and lengthening through the hands. Tendency can be for the rib cage to flare forwards, so just making sure that rib cage stays down towards the waist. So just turn on so you get an idea of what's happening with that one. So I'm keeping that lovely position through the rib cage, keeping the tailbone tucked underneath. None of this business happening there. No thrusting forwards. Okay, I'm going to turn front arm with you. Oh, lost my band. And this time we're going to pulse, okay? Come back to that hundreds. Fabulous. Okay, we're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax. Push back to stand and give those shoulders a little bit of a roll. Okay, nice and warm now. We're going to step 1 foot forwards and bring a little bit more length through the band. So the longer side of the band is on the outside of your body. Make sure that pelvis is level. As we step the other leg back, what can sometimes happen is we kind of kick back onto that hip. So imagine that spirit level resting across your pelvis, keep it at level. Now, you can't really see my feet here, but my front knee is slightly bent. My back leg is nice and straight, and I'm really drilling my heel down into the mat. So I've got a lovely calf stretch going on. So this is your option should you wish to kind of just work with that stretch and the arms, or you can come into a little bit of a lunge. So pick your back heel up and bend down into that back knee now. You notice how straight away this front knee wanted to drop in. Let's keep those knees at that lovely 90-degree angle. We're going to reach across to our pocket. This is where our sword is, and we're going to brandish our sword and reach across to the other side. Good. Nice and slow and controlled, come down. And again. Now you'll notice I'm still keeping that lovely length through the shoulders. No scrunch shoulders coming up. One more, and then we're going to add a twist. Back leg should be burning now. Just glance down, make sure you can still see your toes. If your toes have disappeared, sit back into that back leg. As we open up, we're just twisting the body round, but still keeping the pelvis pointing forwards. So the twist comes from the rib cage. Keep your belly button at the camera, keep your belly button at the screen. 3 more. Obviously you can push back up to stand and carry on and just work the arms. Okay, 1 more. Super duper. Okay, option now to continue to lower down and come into sort of like a split kneeling position. If kneeling isn't for you, stay in standing. Bring your band back to central. Set those shoulders, and we're going to work into bicep curl. So gently pressing the elbows into the rib cage. Imagine some juicy peaches resting between them, so you don't want to squash them. You don't want to drop them either. And we're going to work into that lovely bicep curl. Get those muscles toned at the front of the arms. Now as we come up, we want to keep those shoulder blades tucked down into the back pockets. Super. I could probably go a little bit heavier on my band, so I'm not really feeling that. So what I can do is just come into a half band. Oh, that's a little bit harder. Let's go for 4 more. Make sure that knee's not drifting in. 2 and 1. Okay, slowly lower down, release that tension, and we're going to swap sides. So back into that split lunge sort of position. This time we're going to come into a tricep row. So the elbows are tucked back in at the waist, but this time we extend the elbows to bring the hands out behind. Again, working on keeping the torso nice and still, setting those shoulder blades down into the back pockets. Can't really see what I'm doing from this angle, so I'm going to turn side on. You notice the movement is isolated right here, so the forearm stays nice and still as I row back. Good. Now again, probably a little bit too light for me, but I know my triceps won't handle the band doubled up. So let's go for 2 more. What you can also feel is a lovely stretch through that hip flexor there. You tuck your tailbone underneath the lie. Let's do 1 more. Beautiful stuff. Okay, turning, pushing back up to stand, and just loose your band along to that front foot now. Okay, so we can stay in this lovely stretch position with the front knee bent and the back heel down, or we can lower down into that lunge as we cross over to brandish our sword and we reach up and across. Again, just making sure those hips are nice and level, hip hasn't dropped out to the side. Okay.
Should we add that lovely little twist at the end of that movement? So belly button pointing forwards, rib cage twists as we open out across the body. We've got 4 more. Last move, guys, before we cool down. 2, keeping your balance as you twist, and 1. Super. Push back up to stand, and standing back as we started with our feet hip distance apart on our mat. And let's come back to those lovely shoulder shrugs. And if you want to join in with me, just closing your eyes and focusing on those lovely deep inhalations as the shoulders float up, and heavy exhalations as the shoulders sink down. 2, and 1. Open your eyes and gently step off your band. Good work.